Hey guys, I'm Joe, and this is a Bradford built fence. Today we're at Stonebrook subdivision outside of Maumelle, and this is the pickleball court, and we did an 8-foot tall black vinyl coated chain link fence around here to help contain and put a perimeter here around the pickleball court. The height gives it to where it'll protect from balls going over. This is a multi-use court, so they've got the basketball goal, so to help prevent balls bouncing over, we went with the full 8-foot tall. This is also black vinyl coated chain link, so you get the real nice aesthetic of the black, but there's also a vinyl coating on that chain link. So as you're running around and if you bump up against it, it's got a nice smooth surface where it's not a rough, gritty galvanized like with the silver or galvanized chain link. Here we went with an additional mid-rail. So one, this gives added strength and support to the fence with the height that it has, but also as people are running around and balls are bouncing into it, it's gonna give it some rigidity and some durability there. We did this project for the developer of this neighborhood. This is a neighborhood where they've got walking trails and all that. This is one of the things they wanted to do with the pickleball basketball court. And so we did that for the developer, Hines Homes. This project took a handful of weeks. Now typically a project like this would take about 3 days. So typically you'd come in the first day and set all your posts. Then that second day you're just letting the concrete cure and harden. Then the third day you come back and we would put up all the framework and the chain link and the gates, and you're done, complete. This one was unique with the fact that we were coordinating with a couple of different contractors, the concrete people and the court people that were doing the epoxy and the painting. Typically this would be a 3-day project. So with this particular chain link, it's a black vinyl coated chain link. So what that means is you've got essentially the core of this is an 11 gauge galvanized metal chain link. So if you imagine the silver gray traditional chain link, it's got that at the core of this. And then they go over that with a vinyl coating. So the metal of this chain link has a nice vinyl coating on there, which one makes for a good nice look with the black color. It blends in with the surroundings and the trees and all that. It also creates a smoother finish. So this is a nice smooth vinyl. So as you're in here like playing, if you got pushed up against the fence, whatever, whether you're playing pickleball or basketball, this is gonna be smooth. It's not gonna catch your shirt, scratch your arm. Whereas sometimes on the galvanized, you can have, not real often, but in some places it can be a little bit gritty. You could even have a little bit of spurs on it. So that's really helpful and important in a setting like this with like a sports court or like daycares and things like that where kids are gonna be on it. The black vinyl coated is a really good choice for those applications. So we did this project in 2 phases because of the concrete court, and they didn't want a weird gap between the fence and the concrete. So we came in before anything was here. They did have the outline measured out and marked out, but we put our post in and then we let them come in and do the concrete pad and all of the surfacing and everything for the court. And then we came back afterwards to put up the framework and do the fence so that it's all one nice finished product. So let's take a look at some of the components of this fence. So this is obviously a chain link. This here is a termination post, which is gonna be any end where you've got like a gate here or just an end of the fence, or it'd be the same for a corner post. So these termination posts are bigger posts, so they're bigger in diameter than the mid post or the line post is what we would refer to them as. And these are what have all the connections for the fence rail end here, and that fits over the end of that rail. And then this here is a brace band, so the brace band's attached to the rail ends, and you've got another rail end right here for this mid rail, and again another brace band. If you see, the brace band has a smaller tongue or lip on it, and it's actually centered on the post to run in line with those rails. These posts in the middle of a run would be mid post, or what we would call a line post, because they're in line with the fence. And so they've got different hardware on them as well. If you didn't have the mid rail, you would just have this line post and this loop cap, which is just a cap that allows that top rail to run through. And then if you follow that down here, at any end or corner, it terminates with a brace band here and a rail end, and that's how you do either a top rail or a mid rail. You can see this mid rail also has a brace band and a rail end. Then here on any corner or end, these termination posts, these bands you can see have a longer lip on them. So those are a tension band. So the tension band, it's offset to be in line with the chain link. And so this is used with the tension bar. So this vertical piece right here that it's bolted to is a tension bar, and that is what you use at the end of your chain link runs, and that's what you pull and put tension on the chain link with, and then you bolt them to these tension bands. And then these tension bands are every probably 16, 18 inches. So this is an 8-foot tall fence. So you always got 8, whatever the height is, -1 is the number of tension bands that you're gonna have. So you got 7 on here that hold the tension of the chain link. This, we refer to this as the chain link fabric, and in chain link, it's always under tension. So you wanna pull this really tight so that you don't have a lot of slack in there. And that's what gives the strength and the finish of the fence. So you're pulling to tension this, and then you bolt this here with your tension brackets, and that's what actually holds the fence in place. After that, you're finishing it off with your ties. So every foot or so, you're on the top rail and the middle rail, you're gonna have these wire ties, and that keeps everything tight and secure to these rails, and that's holding everything together. You've also got wire ties on your line post. So every mid post or line post, you're gonna have every couple feet have a wire tie to keep everything tight, nice and tight, secure to the line post. You've also got support on the bottom right here. So similar to the ties and the rails, you've got a tension wire. So a bottom tension wire is typical on most chain link fences, and it's a wire run from each termination post or end post or corner, and it's under tension as well, so it's tight. And then it's got these hog rings every 16 inches to a foot or so, and actually holds the bottom of that fence tight in place so that you couldn't just push this bottom way out. So that keeps everything put together and in line. The other thing that is on these mid rail, so this would be referred to as a line rail clamp, and so this is a specific bracket that holds these mid rail at the line post. So those run in and they're bolted. You can see it's bolted through there to hold these mid rail in place. All right, let's talk about the gate over here. On this setup, we've got 2 single gates. So both of these are single gates. They elected to put one on both sides, which is smart. If you got balls going either direction, you got easy access. So on this gate, you've got your hinges, your hinge components. So this is a beefier setup, more of a commercial setup. So a typical commercial hinge is gonna be what we call a bulldog hinge. And these are very, very common. They're really heavy duty. So they work by clamping on to the post, and then we've got this sleeve that goes around the upright of the gate, and then this goes, well, there's a peg here that pivots on this, so the gate itself actually turns just inside of this hinge there, and that's the way that it is held in place and swings freely. Then here, just a typical fork latch with a chain link. So you've got your latch hanger here, your fork that latches onto the post, and then you've got a spot where if it needed to be locked, you could put a padlock or combo lock to secure that. And if there was something in there, even if it's just like a carabiner clip, sometimes people with dogs, they don't want to have it locked up for security, but they don't want their dog to be able to just like hit that up. So you can put like a carabiner in there, and that keeps that from being lifted and being opened and open the gate. For more fences like this, go to bradfordfencing.net, use our online estimator, and get an instant quote on a fence just like this.